Hello again, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the GPWS, where today I have a hopefully enlightening tip for you all. You know, these types of clocks, these travel alarms that are, mid to late 20th century type guys. They're usually made in Japan or Germany or something like that. Maybe there's some other places that make them too. I think the Brits did as well. Anyway, they were cheap back in the day. Picked them up at a train station, airport, or Sears or whatever. Then you used them until they stopped working. And when they did stop working, you threw them out and bought another one. But of course, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of these have survived up until now. And a lot of them still run, which is nice. But they weren't really intended to be worked on, it looks like. Hence the way the movements are designed, where they've got a time spring and an alarm spring, and there's no spring barrel. And when you take one of these apart, clean it up, and then you're trying to put it back together, the clean movement, the mainspring or both springs are pushing your other gears and wheels out of the way and being an overall pain in the neck for everybody. Again, these weren't really meant to be worked on, but you can work on them. There is a way to do this, because people have done it before in the past. But it seems like it's fairly sort of no one really cares about these things, first of all. That's kind of the main you'll notice that on my channel. A lot of this stuff I deal with no one cares about. So, it hasn't really been discussed too much as to how to service these types of cheap travel alarm clocks. Well, don't worry, guys. I think I've cooked up a method that may work, and I was able to film this. And I was filming a video series on. It wasn't. Well, it was. I mean, they're all basically the same thing, right? It was one of these types of clocks. I was having issues with the mainspring. It was pushing gears and everything out of the way. So I was experimenting, couldn't figure it out until eventually we got somewhere. And I think. And no, it's not just putting zip ties on the springs either. I know people have tried that, and I'm sure it does work depending on which movement you have. But I've got a way that will involve zip ties, but it also involves a winding up technique that I don't know if anyone has thought of or before or anything like that. I'm the first who, I just thought of this myself. So I don't know, maybe someone's discovered this before me. I really don't know. How these things were assembled when they were new, by the way, was the movements were assembled, and maybe they oiled them before that. I don't know. But they put the movement together with no spring in it at all. Then they take the movement over to a very special winding device, and this piece of machinery, the example I'm thinking of was seen at the Smith's clock factory in the UK there. They weren't even building travel alarms with it, but you could tell it was the same sort of process. They use a loop end mainspring. They get the movement on this special device, and then the mainspring is a straight piece of steel. It's not even curved at all. It's a completely straight line, and they wind it in that way using the special winding machine. And of course, through the winding process, it turns into the it does that. So again, no spring barrel, no real intention for anyone to work on any of these, because again, if we look at these ones, these are, well, a Westclox is American, but Ingram here, these guys are American as well. This video is being filmed in Canada, so we have their stuff here, whether it be from the Canadian branch of the company or whatever. But this one is Japan. Okay, Ingram never had a plant in Japan as far as I know. This Westclox one is from Japan as well. Okay, I wasn't aware Westclox had a plant in Japan. And apparently Westclox also has a plant in Germany too. These are no-name clocks that have that, brands, recognizable brands slapped on them. They're not knockoffs by any means. They are made, or at least they're distributed by Westclox, but this stuff is all coming from Germany, and these were made in a time where German horology was really doing well, and it was starting to struggle over here on this side of the world. Costs were rising, and it was just cheaper to outsource a movement, or maybe even an entire clock. I don't know, maybe the Westclox designers, or maybe Ingram, who knows. We don't know how extensive the outsourcing is, but at least the movement for sure is, German or Japanese or whatever, and was not made by Westclox in the slightest. So, you know, with rising labor costs and things like that, they outsourced clocks that were really, you know, just cheap, got the job done, and looked kind of cool in the process. So, okay, guys, no more chit chat. Now that you know what's up, uh, I'm gonna show you that video that I shot of me working on one of these and winding it up. You'll see the whole thing. So I kind of need my phone light here, but this is sort of what I got on the go here, as crude as it may look. But if it does the job, right, we're going to see. So I'm going to get my flashlight set up, and I'm going to wind it up with this method. I'm going to make it as small as I possibly can. And then probably what I'm going to do is zip tie it using my tiny little zip ties. Because, you know, as long as she's tight, that's the idea here, hopefully. Okay, I've rigged up a way of filming this and also using the phone light at the same time. I'm currently mounted on my drill, well, the camera is mounted on the drill press table, or on the drill press plate, or whatever you want to call it. The actual surface that where you use, the user surface on the drill press. There we go. Am I going the wrong way? Let's try this the other way. Yeah, it's about as exciting as it gets, guys. Am I going the wrong way again? Which way am I going here? I have to be going the wrong way. There's no way. Okay. Okay, we're gonna go very, very slow. The spring is slightly tangled there. That doesn't really help us too much, but you know, it's just the way it went. If I had worked on if I hadn't done what I did, this wouldn't be an issue, but you know what? Whatever. It is what it is, guys. This crap wasn't meant to, well, actually, it's not really crap, but this, I've said this 1,000 times, this was never meant to be worked on to begin with. So, to get anywhere with this at all is, I see as progress. Okay, it's actually winding so far. Welcome to the experimental hour. It's hooked on, at least. Okay. Yeah, it's slightly bent, so it's not... I think I've got the right idea, at least, with this whole thing. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay. If you're wondering why the gear wasn't spinning there, it's because the winding... the actual click mechanism in this can move independently of that. So it's still being wound even though that gear is not physically turning, or if it's turning just a little bit. Now all I got to do is hope that this thing doesn't explode or whatever. The chuck is... I mean, it's got a fair amount of the shaft right now. Like, it's gripping a fair amount of it. It's just... It's a case of, I don't know, mild paranoia, I guess, with that. Yeah, the last thing I want to do is that chuck to let go of that spring. Can't believe it's actually winding. What am I scraping up against? I'm scraping up against something. I guess the screwdriver itself. And pull this slightly this way. The drill itself is not mounted in anything. I just kind of relying on the weight of it to make this go. I'm also getting my fingers involved. Holy crow, it's actually winding. I think this is, I mean, the spring's bent, so that's not making my life any easier, but you know, that's something, right? That is something. This is progress in as far as travel alarm repair goes. This is quite, what would I describe this as? Revolutionary? Someone's probably thought of this before me, I wouldn't be surprised. Can you see what's going on? Hope you can. Yeah, she's actually winding up. Oh! damn it. It broke. Oh. Well, I guess that answers that question. We had it there too. Oh. So if I had been more careful with that, I could have actually got that done correctly, and that would have been a-okay, and could have put it back together. But it is what it is. Those movements are really common, so I'm not too worried about finding replacement mainsprings for those. And I'd like to look into spring fabrication as well, but that's a whole different subject all of its own. So anyways, guys, I hope you got something out of that, even though I did break it in the end. And I will be experimenting with that method more as time goes on. So thank you guys for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.